Hey, this is Everyman's Guide to Theater again. I'm just going to do another quick conversation with you while I'm doing my makeup for our second performance today of Mamma Mia. Today I want to talk to you about something that I think is a good follow-up to my last video. Because last time I did a tutorial and basically showed you how I do my makeup. Today I want to not so much show as tell, because there's a lot of things that I didn't really get to broach when it came to actually doing my makeup. And one of the things that I want to really emphasize in this video is the pitfalls and mistakes that you can make when doing your makeup. And so hopefully you'll find this helpful. And if there's anything that I don't cover, any questions that you might have, definitely feel free to post them in the comments, and I would be glad to make more videos explaining anything that you need me to explain when it comes to this idea of stage makeup. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started on my makeup again, and we'll start going through some of the common mistakes that you may make when doing your makeup. So probably one of the easiest mistakes to make, and honestly it's kind of appropriate that I'm in here in the dressing room while speaking about this mistake, because I'm kind of being a bad example here, honestly. One of the biggest mistakes you can make when doing your makeup is not having the correct lighting. Lighting is incredibly important to makeup, because really the entire purpose of stage makeup, particularly for gentlemen, for ladies it's also essentially the same, but there's a little bit more to it with ladies. But with gentlemen, the main purpose of the stage makeup is to make sure that your facial features appear and are easily visible under stage lighting. If you've ever been under stage lighting, you know that the lights are incredibly bright, particularly when you're performing on stage. It feels like you're performing to a train. It's very bright when you do that. And if you're not careful and if you don't have the proper makeup on, your face will be completely washed out. And what I mean by washed out is it basically makes it where your face looks like as white as a sheet of paper. There's no distinction of your physical features, like your eyebrows, your eyes, your nose. Everything just sort of completely disappears if you don't have proper stage makeup on. And so it's important to make sure you put on your stage makeup in the proper lighting, because that's going to allow you to have an accurate, or more or less accurate, representation of what your face is going to look like on stage while you are doing your makeup. That way you're not as inclined to miss things that you would need to when you are doing your stage makeup. Just a little quick trick here. Anytime you're using a brush and you need to clean it real quick and you don't want to like go and actually wash it out, you just want to clean it real quick because you want to do something else with it, just go ahead and take the huck of your hand and just sort of dab it there a little bit and rub it out real quick. Usually you can tell if somebody who's really experienced when it comes to stage makeup, because they'll have that smudge there, because it's just something that we all do. We've just sort of learned it by experience, but it's a nice little handy trick for cleaning your brushes. But anyway, back to the issue of lighting. It's important to have the proper lighting because it'll show you exactly what you need to do as far as any highlights, any shadows, any type of modifications you need to do your makeup. You want to make sure that it looks good under the correct lighting, because if you don't have the correct lighting when you're doing your makeup, or if you at least don't check it under the correct lighting, then you are not going to have the correct look when you go out on stage. So what is the correct lighting? I'll go ahead and tell you. In this particular dressing room, we have incandescent lights, and that is not the correct lighting. In fact, there are multiple problems with the lighting in this room as far as making sure that your makeup looks correct. First of all, it's the fluorescent lights. Fluorescent lights are terrible for stage makeup because they don't give you the right type of light. There are essentially two types of light when it comes to stage makeup that you really need to look at. You have unnatural light, which would be the fluorescent light. It just doesn't have that natural look to it. And then you have natural light, which you'll get more commonly with incandescent bulbs. So I would definitely strongly recommend when you're doing your makeup, at least check it under incandescent light, because that's going to be closer mimicking what you'll have on stage. If you don't have that as an option, you just kind of have to work with what you've got. But when possible, you want to try and work as much as possible with the correct lighting. Second thing that there's an issue with in here is that the lighting doesn't all come from the necessary angles. We have the fluorescent lights are all above, and there's no light coming from the front of our faces, which when you're on stage, the light's not going to be coming directly down on top of you. There'll be some backlighting that hits the top of you, but most of the lighting is going to be facing forward towards you and sort of at a downward angle, but not directly down. And you don't get that in this type of lighting. But like I said, this is what we have, so this is what I work with. But we do have a nice area where you can check your makeup at least. There's a lot of people who do their makeup there. I try to do my makeup in here because it's a little quieter and I can focus a little bit more. So that's the first mistake that a lot of people make, is that they don't have the correct lighting when they are doing their makeup. Second mistake that people make, and I think it's, I was kind of waiting to start my foundation until we get to the mistake, because this is where it becomes the biggest issue most commonly, is not putting on makeup in all the necessary places. A lot of times you'll see people, when they're doing their stage makeup, they will only focus on their face. And while the face is important, and like I said, the whole point of stage makeup is to make your facial features visible and make sure that the light doesn't wash them out, it's important that you don't just do makeup on your face. For me in particular, this show, it's not as big of an issue because I have the full beard going. But if you're clean shaven, it is incredibly important that you get full coverage of your makeup, because you don't want to have the look of like you're wearing a mask, because generally we don't go around wearing a mask. We try to look as consistent and even across our faces as we possibly can. There are obviously sometimes natural blemishes that happen, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to doing your stage makeup, you want to make sure that you get the entirety of your face, but also you want to get like all the way back to behind your ears, that area, your neck, your chest, whatever is going to be showing, you want to make sure that you have makeup on it so that you don't have that look of wearing a mask. I would say the last and probably easiest trap to fall into when it comes to stage makeup is putting on too much stage makeup. It's very easy to put too much on. That's why a lot of the techniques I use are so effective, is because they limit the amount of makeup I'm putting on. That's why I dab my finger into the foundation and then push it in my face rather than just spreading it with a sponge. Using the sponge to spread your makeup has a couple of issues. First of all, you're going to use up your foundation incredibly quick that way, and stuff's not cheap. You want to try and make it last as much as possible, but also it's very easy to have that cakey look, and that is not at all what you are wanting when you're doing a stage makeup look. My personal philosophy when it comes to stage makeup is less is more. You want to make sure that when you're doing stage makeup, it's not really that noticeable. One particular thing that I always like to say when it comes to stage makeup is, if I get any type of comment, whether it be a compliment or a comment of something that someone didn't like when it comes to my makeup, then I have not done my job as far as doing my makeup. Because, like I said earlier, the whole point of stage makeup is to make what you have more visible, something that they can see from a distance. And if it looks like there's a person there and they're wearing makeup, then you've kind of missed the point, because the point is not to have makeup on. The point is to make your face be able to be seen. And so it's very easy to fall into the trap of having too much makeup, especially if you don't have ideal lighting for your makeup, because you'll you won't be able to tell, okay, is my face visible, and it can be very easy to put too much on. It can be a little bit difficult to tell what is too much because that changes based on the size of the house that you're playing in. If you're in a relatively small house, the amount of makeup that you need is significantly less than if you are in a large house. I've had the advantage of being able to play in multiple different sizes of theaters. Here at the theater company, we seat about a little over 200, which is not bad. It's a pretty good size for a community theater. But there's a big difference of what you would do as far as your stage makeup in a house of 200 versus a house of 3,000 to 4,000, because you have people much further back and you have to do a lot more so that people can see it. But you want to try and keep it as appropriate as possible. Like I said, less is more. You don't want somebody to have a lot of comments on it, because the point is not that you're wearing makeup. The point is that they can see your face. So this is just a couple of the pitfalls that you might fall into when you're doing your stage makeup. I'm going to go ahead and finish up here. Thank you, and break a leg. Oh wow, you're still here? Well, since you're here, you might as well go ahead and hit the like button. I mean, it's going to take you, what, a second or two to go ahead and do that? You might as well. Go ahead and leave a comment, too. I mean, you're listening to me. I don't get a chance to listen to you, so go ahead and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video, what you think about my other videos if you've watched them. Just let me, in general, know how I'm doing. And then, if you really want to help me out, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. No, the subscribe button. Yeah, it's that little, yeah, the red one. Yeah, go ahead and hit that. That'll just help me out a lot as I'm trying to grow this channel. And yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.